This is the Frieze.
Hey guys, been a while since we've done a solo episode of the Frieze. How are you doing? Another day, another injury concern for the Yankees. Luis Severino left his rehab start last night before he ever threw a pitch. He was scratched while in the bullpen. Certain reports said that he was kind of pointing towards his back or shoulder area. Those come from fans who were in the stands. Brian Hoke, who is the Yankees beat reporter, reported that he basically said he didn't feel right, and he's headed back to New York for tests. And I'll tell you what, that would sum up this entire last basically 2 seasons. It just doesn't feel right. I don't think we can count on Luis Severino coming back. It seems like every time that he gets right to the precipice, he suffers some sort of setback. I just don't think that we should count on Luis Severino. And if we do get him back, I really think it should be in the bullpen at this point. I have to concede that. As much as the Yankees could use another dynamic starting pitcher, it might be better to keep him to 1 or 2 innings at a time and let him ease his way back in. Remember, this guy has not pitched for multiple seasons now. It's really important to keep him healthy going forward, and I feel like at this point he's kind of a reclamation project. The Yankees might just let him walk when his contract expires, let somebody else deal with all the constant rehabs and let him work his way back. But I want to wish him the best. I'm not saying he's not going to come back and do well. I'm just saying we should not expect it because he has not shown any indication of being able to make that leap into a full-time Major League starter once again. Just too many injuries. So the Field of Dreams game was kind of disappointing. I mean, it was still a beautiful spectacle. I mean, the field was amazing. The uniforms were really unique. The Yankees showed some power. I'm still not convinced that they were not using juiced balls. I kind of feel like the ball was traveling off the bat a little bit differently. Judge hasn't been hitting those fly balls to right field that go 430 feet this year. He just hasn't been doing it. And he did it twice in this game. And Brett Gardner hit a home run again. Something was different about those baseballs. Hate on it if you want. I loved it. I like the juice baseballs. I want more offense. I like pitching. It's fun, but to a point. It's more fun to see a really good start when there's offense surrounding it. 10 really good pitchers duels in a row is not a lot of fun. I want to see more offense in the game. And if they need to juice up the baseballs a little bit to get it back, so be it. Let's hope those juice balls are back for the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, the Yankees are not currently in a position to make the playoffs if the season would end today. And they really haven't been all season. They've been fighting an uphill battle since they left Tampa. They have 6 weeks left to do something, to find some magic, to figure out the missing piece. Will it all come together? I'm starting to doubt that they have a chance at the division. I mean, the Rays are just kind of running away with it. This might be another season where the Yankees have to work their way up through a wild card, and that just puts you at a disadvantage right away. You've got to use up your best pitcher to get through the wild card game, and then you've got to play on the road in a 5-game series. It's just no fun. Just no fun. I would love to see the Yankees rattle off a wire-to-wire division championship next year. They're going to need some tweaks to do it because I don't think this team is exactly what the ownership and what the executives in the front office thought it was and what they sold it as. The offense has been absolutely disappointing this year. Too many injuries once again. We broke our own record for number of players put on the injured list. Granted, a lot of that was the COVID injured list. But still, between that and the massive underperformance, the inability to hit with runners in scoring position, the fading defense, the bad base running for much of the season, the inability to turn out high-level prospects until recently, or to misjudge the prospects that you have. You trade Hoy Jun Park, he's tearing it up. Now he may come down to earth a little bit. You don't know what you have in Steven Ridings until you bring him up and he dominates. Luis Heel stuck in the minor leagues, and then he comes up and dominates. It's like this organization is just mismanaged. And I'm not even really talking about Aaron Boone, the manager. But I feel like the hiring of Aaron Boone was a misstep. There's been a lot of missteps. Now, it's not too late to fix it. This team does have some good young players. You got Garrett Cole, who's still going to be an ace for a couple of more years. Jordan Montgomery is, in my opinion, a really solid pitcher. That's two really good pieces to your rotation right there. Luis Heel is looking like he could be the real deal. That's another solid arm. You got Jonathan Loizaga, a really good bullpen piece. You've got some other guys. Steven Ridings, I mentioned, 101 mile an hour fastball. You've got Luis Medina coming up. Anthony Volpe is smashing expectations in the minor leagues. Oswald Peraza was put on the taxi squad a few days ago, so he is knocking at the door. So the Yankees do have some opportunity to inject some youth and to really change the discussion around this team. But you've also got some bad contracts. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton is probably not going anywhere. And even though he hit that big home run the other night, he's massively underperformed this season. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Aaron Judge is going to be a free agent soon. What do you do there? Do you really want to give this guy $300 million? That's going to be a really tough decision. It's going to come down to a business decision, I think, for them. How much money does he bring in versus how much money is he going to be costing you on the back end of a deal like that? I just don't know. I don't know if you can sign Aaron Judge long term. I would see if he could, maybe come back on like a 3 or 4 year deal, but I don't think he's going to agree to that. What do you do with Gary Sanchez? He's come back to life a little bit this season. He's going to be a free agent soon. Would the Yankees extend him? Interesting question. Luke Voit has come back down to earth. He's been a little bit injury prone. What do you do with Luke Voit? What do you do with DJ LeMahieu? He's come back down to earth a little bit. Do you want to lock him into a position, or do you want to turn him back into your super utility guy? I think that's the best step for DJ LeMahieu. The original plan, which was to play him pretty much every day, but in a different position. Let him play a little third. Let him play a little second. Move him over to first base. Gio Urshela has had a solid year. He's great defensively. He's been okay offensively, a tick down from the last couple of seasons. But he's been a little bit more injury prone this year. We've had some bang-ups. Right now he's got a hamstring issue. The COVID thing, I don't want to put that on him too much because, it's invisible. I mean, you never know. But a lot of guys in and out of this lineup, a lot of guys underperforming. Brett Gardner obviously looks like he's done. The organization seems to really be taking care in developing Estevan Florial, but I think he's got the tools. The Martian off to a bit of a slow start. Last I checked, he was hitting 229. That's why we haven't had a Martian tracker in a minute. So this organization is going to face some real questions this winter. What is the rotation going to look like next year? What's the roster construction going to be like? Do you bring back Anthony Rizzo? I think Anthony Rizzo is a guy worth investing in because I think he's built for Yankee Stadium. And that elite defense at the corner is just something the Yankees have been missing since Mark Teixeira. Anyway, we've got 6 more weeks to get this thing figured out, and then hopefully we can have something fun for the playoffs, a nice little run. I'm not convinced they're going to go more than, maybe the division series. That's kind of what, if you get a 5-game division series this year and you put up a fight, I feel like that will be an overperformance for this team as presently constructed. One guy we didn't really get into is Joey Gallo. And that was intentional because I wanted to spend a little bit more time on Joey Gallo. To me, Joey Gallo is one of the best defensive players on the team. He's a real conundrum. Great defensive player. He's probably one of the best base runners on the team. He hustles. He's got a great arm, and it's accurate. And he draws walks, he gets on base, but he really is walk or strikeout. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. I sound like John Sterling there. It's amazing. I just can't understand how this is possible. Like, how does this guy miss as much as he does and still make the major leagues? I guess hitting a ball 500 feet once in a while will, help you out there. And according to the stats, he hits home runs about as often as anybody in the league based on at-bats, but that's probably because he walks so much, so his at-bat total is a little bit low. His official at-bat, not his plate appearances. But when the Yankees traded for him, he was averaging a home run every 12 or so at-bats. He's now hitting 140 as a Yankee. He's got just one home run. It was that pop-up that went out against the Orioles, 3-run shot. He really needs to get going soon. The Yankees didn't trade for this guy to be a 140 hitter and play good defense. That's what Jonathan Davis will do for you. This guy can't hit a lick, but he's got great speed. He's a good defensive player. But Joey Gallo's supposed to give you some pop. Right now, he looks lost at the plate. He just, even on at-bats when he gets ahead in the count, maybe 2-0, 3-1, he still finds a way to strike out. And he doesn't hit into double plays, so that's a good benefit. But it's just aggravating to watch this guy just head back to the dugout so often, especially in big spots. It's been frustrating to watch. I have to say, I know he fits the Yankees' philosophy, but if this is who he's going to be, I'm not a big Joey Gallo fan at this point. He can still win me over, though. If he has a hot September, hits 15 home runs or something like that, yeah, I'm probably going to be a Joey Gallo fan. But I feel like if we keep Joey Gallo around next year, it's going to be a lot of the same. It's going to be streaks of walks, streaks of strikeouts, and streaks of home runs. We still haven't seen the streak of home runs. I'm not convinced that he can't fix his swing. I've been watching a lot of videos of him from the side, and the way he swings the bat, his bat is not on plane with a pitch. And when I say on plane, imagine two trains going in opposite directions on the same track. One is heading towards the other. They're on plane with each other. They're going to run into each other. But now imagine a different type of plane. Imagine a jet that's taking off on a runway. And right after it takes off, it's at a 45-degree angle. It's headed up into the sky. And then imagine there's a elevated train that's off the ground that's headed right for the path of that train. To intersect, they've got to hit at the right time. The train has to cross the path of the plane that's taking off at exactly the right moment, or they're not going to connect, right? That's what his bat and the baseball are like. The baseball is coming in like the train that's coming straight, and his bat is the uppercut. It's the plane taking off. And so he's got to have immaculate timing to make contact. Immaculate. And he just doesn't have that. He's got every other skill in the book. He needs to fix his swing path. It can be done. It can be done. Aaron Judge did that when he first came up. JD Martinez has fixed his swing path. It can be done. I'm breaking out a new lineup screen tonight, and I might break out a new way to do highlights. My issue with doing the highlights in the post-game show, there's a couple of issues. So I can't do highlights every single night. I mean, I could. If that was all I was doing, it'd be a piece of cake. But to do the highlights and still put together a full show is difficult. To get the show launched within 10 to 15 minutes of the end of the game, I've got to have the highlights pretty much ready. So that's why most of the time I don't have highlights from the bottom of the ninth inning, unless there's a walk-off, and then the postgame is delayed by 10 to 15 minutes. But I do like showing, as part of the recap, a few highlights. I typically put them in the lower left-hand corner. But I might have a new way to do that before we get to the recap portion, where I show a few highlights. But the issue is that it takes a little while to publish. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. And so it's hard. The longer the game produces highlights that are notable to the outcome, the later that pushes my postgame. And I don't want to go too late because the audience drops off the later you get. And I like to go live at a reasonable hour. I still have a full-time job, so I got to get up early, which means I got to get some sleep. And so the later these games go and the later the post games go, the tougher it is to have highlights. But I'm looking at ways to include just like a couple of highlights from the day that I can publish during the game and have them in a unique fashion. So I might break that out tonight. I'm breaking out the new lineup screen, as I mentioned. I got a new lineup anthem. I purchased a song and then I did some editing to it and I added some John Sterling. It's called It Is Gone. You'll hear it. If you watch the postgame, you'll hear it. But I'm really looking forward to the next 6 weeks of producing baseball content. And then we will see what happens this winter. This winter, I'm going to try and break out into more baseball stuff, more conversations with people. And then next year, the content will hopefully be much more refined. This was my first full season doing it. First full year. And so I've kind of learned what works, what doesn't. People seem to like the Frieze, so this will come back. Yankees game day seems to be pretty popular. I'm going to try and make that so that I can do it more often. That's one of my objectives for this winter, is to figure out a way to do that. Maybe not every day, but at least 3 to 5 times per week. That was the original plan. I've ended up doing it pretty much once a week for the last few weeks. And then, of course, we're going to do the post-game recaps. That's always going to be part of the plan. I might get some more interviews or partners for the post-game recaps. Have some friends on that are willing to talk baseball when the Yankees play their teams. I think that's something that could be fun. But according to Rob Manfred's Shadow this morning, 6 more weeks of baseball. So Yankees got to get it going. I'll see you for the postgame. Special shout out to the Patreon supporters and anyone else who has supported this channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it the old thumbs up and subscribe for more Yankees content year-round. If you really enjoyed it, check out the Frieze. It's the official podcast of this channel. Or pick up some swag from the Teespring store, link in the description. Thanks for watching.